Okay, so we're gonna talk about allergies. Everybody knows about nasal allergy. You might have allergy to pollen. You might have allergy to smoke. You might have allergy to many different things in your environment. It could be cats, dogs, dust, lots of things. And so what happens is we get sensitized when the pollens or the cat dander or whatever gets in our nose. Our body reacts to it and develops antibodies, which then create that allergy. And so usually we see allergy develop at about 18 months old. And it's usually triggered by, something in the environment. 6-month-olds don't have nasal allergy. They just don't. They have upper respiratory infections that are back to back and seem like they're all together in 6 weeks. But generally they're too young to have been exposed to a lot of stuff. And so for a 6-month-old to be allergic to the outdoors is almost impossible. They haven't even lived through a spring. So when you suspect that your child is having allergy and you want to treat it, I think you're better if you understand what you're treating and how that works in your body, because I think it'll make it more successful. So what creates allergy in the body? Well, when that pollen hits your nose, it causes the cell that it hits to release histamine. Histamine is a chemical that goes out into the cells and creates swelling and mucus production. So when you get that pollen in your nose gets all stuffy and swollen and a lot of mucus production, and you start having all this mucus. When histamine binds a receptor, it stays on there for more than 24 hours. So what I like to explain is how these receptors work, because then you understand. So if you think of the receptors in your nose like garages, and you go into this apartment complex and there's garages that are empty all over the place. When histamine gets released, it's in all the garages and there's nowhere to park. You can drive around forever and there's nowhere to park. There's no garages that are open. And so you're trying to get your antihistamine, which is going to help to prevent you from having these symptoms in those garages. But it can't come out. Once you park in a garage, you can't come out for 24 hours. So what's going to happen is if we do it for more than 24 hours, then we begin to compete for those garages or those receptors, and we can actually start to make a difference. Let's say you're allergic to grass and you got to go mow the fields, right? So what you do before you leave the house to go mow is you take your Zyrtec, your antihistamine, and it's sitting in all the garages and there's no room for the histamine to bind. So when you go out and you mow the grass and the grass hits your nose and the nose releases histamine, then the histamine's having to drive around the apartment complex and there's no garages that are open because Zyrtec is in all the garages. And so I think that helps you to understand that it's about competing for these receptors when we're trying to deal with allergy with antihistamine.